Shalom, shalom. I think this is an interesting video topic. Oh, sorry for that glare on my face. Hope that doesn't become too much of a problem. The sun is setting. Okay, whatever. I'm making this video because no one's talking about this. The infamous TikTok author Alex Aster, of viral TikTok fame and the Lightlark series, and quite a few other scandals, wrote a romance novel, a rom-com, and no one's talking about it. I'm a little surprised. This book is called Summer in the City. The marketing is very interesting because it's a throwback to 2000s rom-coms, and in the marketing TikToks, Alex Aster is dressed like the characters from those kinds of movies. I admittedly never got much into the Lightlark, whatever, lark, you know what I'm talking about, series. I took a passing glance at the books, but I've enjoyed a lot of the videos talking about the series, and so I wanted to do my part to review this book called Summer in the City. It just came out a few weeks ago, and it debuted number 4 on the New York Times bestseller list. Actually, I think is her highest debut as a book ever. I think it did better than her actual Lightlark series, believe it or not. Which, I find that very interesting. It seems to be organic sales. I'm like, okay, well that's a new breath of air in the sales of Alex Aster's writing career. Wow, okay, maybe she's not good at writing fantasy, but she's very talented at writing something else, and people are enjoying this book, so I decided to take a look at it myself. But I'm surprised no one who keeps an eye on Alex Aster is talking about this, or who has ripped apart Lightlark is looking into this at all. It's also interesting that Alex Aster released this book right after she released the 3rd book in the Lightlark series, and I wonder if her publisher's like, hey, your Lightlark series is dying off, no one's really interested anymore, and the 3rd book seems it's not gonna do well, so why don't you write something else, just as a rebound book quickly, just in case? And she did, and it seems to be rebounding. So here's the synopsis of the novel. 27-year-old screenwriter Elle has the chance of a lifetime to write a big buster. One problem, she has writer's block for months and her screenplay is due. In a desperate attempt at inspiration, Elle ends up back in the city she swore she never could afford. Floor-to-ceiling windows, skyline views, and new coffee shop. Basically, I don't want to read that whole thing and bore you, basically. Basically, Elle is a screenwriter. She lived in New York for a brief period and didn't like it. She went to Columbia, and she couldn't make it in New York, so she went back to her hometown of LA, where she stayed and became a screenwriter. But in the book, the movie project she's working on, it brings her back to New York because it's shooting in New York. And she has a summer romance fling that potentially turns into something more. What do I think about the book overall? You know, it feels like, how do I put it? You know, one of those like style games? You know, like one of those games, like the app games where it's like you pick a neckline for a dress with this hem of skirt and this fit and this color. This book kind of felt like that. It felt like one of those style games, you know? It felt very copy and paste of other things and just kind of mixed together. But considering this book is a throwback parody to a very once common formula of books, I mean, I guess it works actually in this case. I'm surprised I'm saying this. The book wasn't terrible. It was enjoyable. The writing, I think, actually is on a better level than Lightlark, because I think Alex Aster is just writing what she actually has seen in person, so it just works, basically. There were some descriptions of New York City, while through a very romantic haze that's not realistic, some were pretty accurate. I was like, oh, that is New York. It was an easy-to-follow book, overall. Very short read, very quick, very fun. Nothing really happens in it, though. Really nothing. It's just kind of day by day, as the romance builds. So the book, kind of the prologue to it is Elle is at a nightclub. She's not enjoying her time there. She's with a friend. There's a lot of high-power people there, a lot of billionaires and executives, and she's like, whatever, I don't like these people. And she has kind of an altercation with someone who she thinks is like the bouncer of the club, and she's being very rude and like, throw me out. I don't care, throw me out. And it's like, I'm not the bouncer. And then there's a transition from like tension, from like the enemies to lovers transition, from like tension to like spicy, but it happened so fast that I thought I skipped a few paragraphs on accident. And they had like a tension, oh, he's a douchebag, but I can't help but like him kind of thing. In the hallway, it's kind of bad, but kind of what we expect. The thing with Alex Aster is she does write some good moments, but just when the tension's heating up and there's like a dynamic forming between the characters, she jumps the gun. Like, Elle has romantic tension with the person she was arguing with at the club, again, assuming that's an employee. She gets all hot and bothered. They don't know each other's names. He tries to hook up with her, she pushes back, and then he's like, can I take you out for dinner? And then she's like, okay. I'm like, what? Or no, sorry, she doesn't say okay there and then, but she was considering it. I'm like, what? Okay. And that's it. It just ends. And they don't get each other's names. And I'm like, come on, that's it? That's then supposed to be, the book sets up that they meet each other again down the line. I'm like, that's the only interaction they have? It was so short. So 2 years go by, and Elle begrudgingly has to be back in New York City, and she's upset about it. The dialogue in this book is very juvenile. I'm sorry, Alex Aster is terrible at dialogue. The chapters are all super short. They're only like 3 to 5 pages. So she's back in New York, and she's a writer, you know, she's this hotshot screenwriter, and has to be in New York because the movie is shooting in New York and all. And she's just your classic, I'm a strong, independent woman, single. Oh, by the way, I forgot to say, Elle is like the worst self-insert character Alex Aster has ever put in. Elle is half Colombian like Alex Aster. Elle has a much successful older sister, not older, twin sister in business. Oh my god, just like Alex Aster. Oh, but Elle comes from a humble beginning where she worked her way through college. That part's different, of course. And the thing is, Alex Aster is not good at writing dialogue, and she's a little too in love with her characters because she has them talk on for way too long and it's boring, and the dialogue doesn't further anything in the plot, really. Which it doesn't have to, but if you're gonna go that way, keep the dialogue short. And the problem is I get this book was supposed to be styled after a 2000s rom-com movie, but the problem is Alex Aster writes the scenes like watching a movie, which is not a terrible place to start from, but then the problem was the scenes cut and jump too quickly. Again, a book you need more time to set up everything because we don't have the visuals. So, but again, one scene just ends too abruptly to jump to another or transition to something else in the setup. So Elle runs into that guy again. His name is Parker, and he's a sexy asshole that flirts and mocks her. And then the plot, the arch of this plot is a my fake fiance situation. Parker says, "Be my girlfriend" on a dare. They're in their late 20s. Really? Well, Elle is. Parker, I think, is older. And Elle goes with it because plot. I mean, the plot points take such an obvious cliche, even for a novel that is supposed to poke fun at cliches. And this is one of them. Elle has to write about a couple in her screenplay, and then she finds herself taking inspiration from her real-life romance. Which, come on. Like, you could say that's part of the parody, but I don't think that's really meant to be part of the parody. I think Alex meant that as to be a serious part of the story. Parker is very similar to how Oro is in Lightlark. Is it Oro? I'm pretty sure it's Oro. He's a mean ass, but then he's nurturing and caring in like the lightning flash second. And then again, it seems like sometimes Elle is just not mature enough to be in her own story, like with this passage of her thoughts. The amusement in Parker's face vanishes. Elle, he says, why is it so hard for you to believe people might actually like you? See what I said about dialogue, how they get so cliche? And they end up doing so much together, and yet their relationship doesn't really evolve or develop. And Elle ends up staying at Parker's home because, again, plot. And again, the fake pretend love stuff is just so damn bad. Who is Elle Leon? I barely know. I'm better at writing everyone else's story than I am my own. Elle, I look up to see Parker's face, clear of any nerves or uncertainty. We don't have to do this. We can leave out and back. But our deal, I say, my voice thin, this is why I'm at this auction, because if it's not part of our agreement, then what am I gonna do here with him? I don't know, you could just end it. There's no stakes. It just was a fun game you're playing. No, again, their characters are above their late 20s. Parker's like a big VC rich person, so Elle follows him around to various rich people things. And then there's some passage where Elle, she gets in like a more dominant role, which is nice, but then again, the way it's written is so cringy. Take it off, I say, sharper than I meant to. If that's what you want, Parker casually unclasps. It then opens the door, hands the necklace back to the guards, closes it again. Her dialogue just derails what the intention of the scene and the feeling's supposed to be. And what I find really annoying, actually this is what annoyed me about the book. Elle has no friends. She's a hotshot screenwriter. She's big in the movie industry. She has no friends in New York that she socializes with. She like goes to New York to work on a movie, and then all she does is follow around Parker. There's nothing mentioned about her working on the movie at all besides her writing based on her real life love story with Parker. Like, seriously, she doesn't want to do anything else around New York but besides be with Parker. I know she doesn't like the city, but come on. And Parker is so flat. We get a basic description of what he looks like in the beginning and nothing more. I actually struggled to remember details about him, what he looks like, and he has no characteristics besides whenever he needs to do something to entice Elle. That's the other thing. There's just too many scenes where they only just interact with each other, despite Parker having a wide network and Elle being in the movie industry and being a minor celebrity in herself. So really, all they are, they're just clingy with each other. There's like, actually, I think only notable side character is Elle's friend Penelope, who appeared in the beginning, and that's it. That's the only notable side character. And that's the thing. Elle's writing, this is what I think Alex Aster doesn't understand. Elle, when she's writing, just holed up and doing nothing just by herself. writing a script for a movie is different than writing a novel. A script is a collaborative experience. You're talking with actors, production team, taking feedback from them, seeing if your idea can actually be done with the production team and the director, watching the actors rehearse the lines and see if it works actually in real life. None of that. She's just holed up in her apartment writing whenever she can. And then the book just kind of, the rising tension is when suddenly the paparazzi think their relationship is legit and she gets splashed all over page 6 or something like that. And that's just because the story needs tension, even though that was already happening before and it didn't really seem to be a problem. So then she can't commit to the My Fake Fiancé thing. Then randomly her sister is giving birth in Italy and she has to go. Wouldn't she have known when the baby was due? Wouldn't Elle have known when the baby was due and planned that in advance? But okay. And again, it's just thrown in there. The sister gives birth, then Parker is then there for Elle in this emotional moment, and then their cold relationship turns warm and gooey because why not? And that's pretty much the entire book. That's it. Okay, well, it wasn't unreadable and terrible. I mean, I got through it very quickly, but also it wasn't memorable. And then with that, I'm probably gonna forget I made this video.